Hi, everybody. Welcome to Utalic. Welcome to our second webinar. My name is Robert, and today I want to show you what Utalic is and how Utalic works. So Utalic is a low-code software development platform. You can create custom apps with it without programming. So you don't need to code anything, but you can create your app by dragging components into a form, like you do it when you create a PowerPoint presentation or so. And yes, you don't need to have coding skills to create an app. The benefits of Utalic are an increased productivity and faster development. And of course, the apps you create are very high quality apps because the components you use within your app then are proven and are out there in the world, used by many other users. And when someone finds a bug, a failure, we will solve it. And the more users a component used, the more stable it is by nature. To give you an overview of how it is working, I want to share my screen with you. Yeah, this is Utalic Studio, our development environment. And this big white area here in the middle of my screen is the content of your app, or could be the content of your app. You can place elements on this area by just clicking here the desired component in our toolbox and then dragging it onto the form. You can switch the view of your, or the preview of your app by clicking one of these icons. So you can switch from desktop view to tablet view to smartphone view. And this helps you to understand how your app looks like on different devices. And you can design your app here for different devices, and you will instantly see how it will appear at customer side. Yes, I have inserted a button here by just clicking it on here in my toolbox and dragging an area. To rename the caption of my button, I just make a double click and rename it. Click me. Yes, this is how you can customize your controls. And beside of adjusting the captions or setting captions, you can use the object inspector here on the right side to customize the behavior of the selected components. For example, here is a background color property. You can click on it, and here you can select a different color to adjust the view or the design of your button. Yes, and here you have different options and different things you can customize. The object inspector shows the property or the properties of the selected control. So if you have multiple controls in your form, you can select a control, and then you will see the properties of the control here in the object inspector then. Yeah, to demonstrate not only the visual interface, not only how you can design a user interface with Utalic, but also how you can define the logic under the hood, I would like to insert a checkbox here. A checkbox is in my toolbox here as well. And when I scroll down, you see that there are many components, and here is a checkbox. And I can click the checkbox and drag it here onto my form. If you are working longer with Utalic, then you will know the name of the components at some point. And if you don't want to search the toolbar over and over for the wanted component, you can use our search by just hovering your mouse over this area in the top left. And then you can just type what you want. So if you want to insert a checkbox, you can type in check, for example, and you see the search results and here it's a checkbox. So this makes it easier to insert controls, and you don't have to scroll over and over on the toolbox. And it's easier to find the components if you already know the name. Yeah, this checkbox is a thing. I want to create a very simple minimalistic app just to demonstrate how the logic editor or the workflow editor of utalic is working. And I want to have a checkbox which the user can check or uncheck. And depending on his choice, I want to show the result in another field. So I can say, or I can set the text of the checkbox here in my object inspector, like check me. Yeah, and when I type it here in my object inspector, you will see live a preview of how the component will look like in your app. I just entered the caption here on the text here by typing it in. If you are developing database applications, for example, you could use also this small database icon. When you click on it, then the data connection editor appears. And here you could also set the caption by specifying a data set and a data field. So if you have defined a database in your app, you could also show the value of a data field from your database as text for the checkbox. For my small app, it's enough to entering the text manually. And I want to have a label in this area. I just drag it in here. And depending of the state of this checkbox, I want to show the text checked or not checked here, just to demonstrate the functionality of utalic. To do that, I open the workflow editor here on the area selector on the left side. And now I have a list of different events I already can select. The events are generally grouped by component. So I have a component which is named button 1. And I drag this button 1 onto my flow area, and I can select the wanted event here. So I want to run an action when the user clicks the button. So I specify on click here. And when the user clicks the button, I want to decide I want to have a condition. If the user have checked the checkbox, I want to show a different text as when the user did not check the checkbox. So for that, I am inserting a condition by dragging it in my form or in my workflow here. And then I connect the two boxes by just dragging a line here. And then I'm specifying a condition. When I click on this field here, the property selector appears. Here I can select the property checkbox 1, checked. Yeah, and this condition now has two outputs, a green one and a red one. The green one is for true. So when I drag a line to another box, to an action, from this green arrow, then the following box will be executed when the condition is true. And when I connect this red button to another box, this box will be executed when the condition is not true. Okay, I want to have a condition, this checkbox 1 checked is true. When the checkbox is checked, then I want to specify something that happens on the green line. What should happen when the condition is true? I want to set a property of an object. Yeah, a property is everything you can set here in the visual designer here. And one property for this label is named caption. Yeah, and in caption, I can insert, click it. So as you can see, as soon as I change the caption in this field gets changed as well. And now I want to set this property. So at first I connect the green button with my box, with my set property of object box. And then I specify the property I want to set. I want to set the property from label 1, which is named caption. And I want to set the caption checked. Yeah. So now when I click on the button, the computer walks into this condition and checks if checkbox 1 checked is true. Then the output, the green output, is called. And then we set label 1 caption to checked. So when I run it now, the checkbox is not checked right now. When I click the button, nothing happens. And when I check the checkbox now and click the button again, then the text checked appears. So now I want to add a second action, which will be executed when the condition is not true. Therefore, I'm inserting a second action, a set property of object action, connected with the red output. And here I specify the same property. I want to set the label 1 caption, yeah, to a different value, not checked. So when I click on the run button here, the app appears, the simulator appears. And now when I click the click me and the checkbox is not checked, then the text not checked appears. And when I check the checkbox and click the button, the text checked appears. Yeah, this is how the workflow editor is working and how you can define the logic under the hood of your app. You can do it without writing any single line of code. You can do it all with our visual workflow editor. And of course, you can have big workflows as well. So if you write a real world application, the workflow will grow and grow, and the flow chart will be big. And you can also create multiple flows. So this is the default flow, and you can have a second flow, for example. And you can define a second flow here as well. The different flows are only a visual thing. So both flows are active all the time. So what you define here in the default flow and the second flow and third flow and so on is getting executed automatically as soon as the event occurs. And to get a better overview or to make it visually easier, if you don't have a very big, huge flowchart, you can create multiple flowcharts to make it easier to understand and to make compact and smaller flowcharts here. Yeah, this is how the logic editor of utalic is working. This is how you define a workflow. And second thing I want to show you is how you can create responsive apps. A responsive app is an app that works on different devices. So if you create an app for a desktop computer, you can place a button here on the upper right corner without a problem, and everyone will have a screen that has at least that size, like my MacBook here has. But when the user opens the same app, for example, on his tablet, the size is limited and he doesn't see the button then, and he has to scroll horizontally, and I think no one wants that. And it gets even worse if you open it in a smartphone. Then you have to scroll horizontally more and more to get everything visible on your screen. And to solve that issue, you can create responsive apps with utalic. To demonstrate that, I'm creating a new project here. As I put it on the desktop here, just to demonstrate it responsive. Okay. As I create a new app. And to make an app responsive, you don't place controls absolutely. You can use our panel here, and I already showed you that you can click on the name of the object, and then dragging an area in your app scene to insert a new panel here. A panel is just a owner where you can place elements on. This is method 1 to create new elements within your app. And another method is to dragging it directly from the toolbox to the app scene. To do that, you click on the element, don't release the mouse, and just drag it on your form. Yeah, and then this element will appear here with full width. So it's completely it's 100% width, like your scene, like your app. And now you can place elements on this form by doing it the same way. So if I want to have a button here, I just move a button or just drag a button from my toolbox to this area. And this way I can insert multiple buttons, multiple controls. I can also insert a label or different controls from my toolbox here on my form. If I want to have a little distance between the controls, I can specify that and therefore I have to select the parent element. So when I click here, then I have selected the label. When I click here, I have selected the button 2. But if I want to select the owner controls, this panel 1, I'm just pressing the escape key. So this selects the owner control of the currently selected object. And now I have selected the panel 1. And here is a property which is named control spacing. And now I can increase the control spacing, and this will increase the distance between my elements. So this is a very easy way to place elements on your form. And now this app is responsive and usable on different device sizes automatically. When I switch to the tablet view, then you will see the size is automatically adjusted. Also, when I open the smartphone view, this is working responsive by default right now. Yeah. Sometimes you want to have multiple columns within your app. So if you have, I don't know, a list or a list and properties you set for the list and so on, then you want to have multiple columns side by side sometimes. Utalic helps you to create these columns. Therefore, you can click on this dots icon here, and then you can add a column. And then our panel, so this parent control I already had, is now getting divided into 2 columns. Yeah, I have a left column here, and this is my right column, and I can place elements on both of these columns. So yeah, this is a good thing if you want to create master detail views, for example. And therefore you can create multiple columns. And Utalic also helps you by distributing the columns. By default, the columns all have the same size. But if you want to have, for example, the left column bigger than the right one, Utalic provides an option and automatically adjusts the size then. And everything is working responsive here as well. So you can see the size is defined by percent and not absolutely. So it doesn't matter which size your screen has. Utalic automatically adjusts the size of the columns then. Yeah, this was a brief overview of Utalic and a brief overview of how to create a responsive app. And I hope you learned something about Utalic and how you can use it. Maybe you have an idea. If you want to create your own app, I would highly recommend you to download our trial version from utalic.io. We have two different versions of Utalic. We have an web-based version, so a web version that you can use with your browser, but this one is limited compared to the downloadable version. And to get the full functionality, I would highly recommend you to use the downloadable version. Just go to utalic.io, click on the Try Now button, and download the app. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them now. Okay, if there are no more questions, I want to say thank you for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye. Have a nice day.